Live from New York, New York, it's the 2017 N00banator Award Show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. My name is N00banator912 and welcome to the 2017 Game Awards. Alright, thank you all for coming to watch this amazing video of what I thought of games in 2017. It's gonna be very, very subjective, so I hope you weren't expecting the objective best games. There are a few on here that I think are objectively bad, but you'll find out more about my opinions during the thing. Alright, without further ado, let's get right into the award show.
The Classics Award.
Alright, so the Classics Award is for a game that came out, I think I made the cutoff 10 years ago or more, that I played this year and had a lot of fun with. Most of the nominees were things that I did on the channel. Two of them are not. Neither of those two won. Spoiler alert. But, I had a lot of fun playing all of these games, even though they're old. Yeah.
And the nominees for the Classic Award are...
Pokemon Gold, Paper Mario, Mega Man 4, Pokemon Green, and Oblivion.
And the winner is...
Pokemon Gold. We did a playthrough. I forget when. I think it started in February, and it ended sometime around June. But actually, the final conclusion to it just went up yesterday. Pokemon has been a big part of my gaming experience since I started. In fact, Pokemon Crystal was one of my first games that I can remember. So, it was no surprise that a Pokemon game was going to be winning an award. And since I didn't have time to play Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, and by time I mean money, that's why I felt Pokemon Gold deserved the Classics Award. Moving on.
The Mixed Feelings Award.
So the Mixed Feelings Award is supposed to go to one of two types of games. It's either a game that I had a ton of fun playing, but has mechanics that are objectively terrible, or not even just mechanics, just gameplay that is not fun, not good. The flip side is games that are technically good, but I think are either overhyped or under fun. And so there's a couple from each category in the nominees. Speaking of which,
the nominees for the Mixed Feelings Award are...
Breath of the Wild, Sonic Forces, and Super Mario Odyssey.
And the winner is...
Sonic Forces. Mostly because it was the only one on this list that fell into the first category, which makes this a positive award as opposed to a negative award. I really enjoyed Sonic Forces, despite the fact that it's technically not a good game. Like, the story is mediocre, the gameplay is not great, but I still had quite a bit of fun. I was never really a big fan of Sonic. Well, I suppose that's not true. I never played the classic Sonic games, so that's not my experience with Sonic. I personally like the Sonic games I've played, which consist of Colors and Black Knight and those ones. Even though most people seem to hate them, I kind of like it. I don't know. I guess that's just my personal opinions. So, again, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. Let me know who you think should win each of these awards, I guess. In the meantime, let's get to the rest of the awards.
the Late Entry Award.
So the Late Entry Award is basically a game of the year for games that came out recently, but before I started making these award shows. Because I obviously didn't start doing this until this year. So with that in mind, this is the biggest category, I believe. Because there are so many great games that came out in... I think the cutoff for this one is the past 5 years. Looks like, because I think one of these came out in 2012, maybe. I could be completely wrong about the year it came out. It might be 13. But these are some recent, but not brand new games that I probably would have given Game of the Year if they had come out this year. Without further ado,
the nominees for the Late Entry Award are
Town of Salem, Shovel Knight, Crawl, Titan Souls, Fallout 4, Stardew Valley, and The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD.
And the winner is...
Crawl. This is a more obscure game. You guys are definitely going to hear way more about it once I get my computer upgraded and ready to stream. It's basically a dungeon crawler where it's a multiplayer dungeon crawler where one person gets to play the crawler and the other 3 at most get to play the dungeon. I think this would be really fun for a stream, but I guess we'll find out when I get my computer back into streaming condition. All of these games are games that I have either already played on the channel or plan to in the near future, so look back through that list and get ready for the ones that have yet to come. Yeah. That's all I have to say, I guess, about this particular category. I know there are some games that didn't quite make it on this list in time, like this full award show, that will probably be showing up here next year. So, yeah. Let's move on.
The Time Sync Award.
So this one should be pretty obvious. This is a game that I spent a ton of time with, despite it not necessarily being a fun game for all of that time. I don't know. And most of these are pretty good games. In fact, one of them I have been playing a ton recently. The one that's... Well, a few of them are things that I plan to play more on the channel. So, guess you'll see more of those too. Basically, this whole award show is things that I should be playing on the channel. Except for one of the categories, which is coming soon. Yeah, I really should have written a script for this. Right. Anyway, as I was saying...
And the nominees for the Time Sync Award are...
Banished, Final Fantasy 15, Fallout Shelter, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Monster Super League, and Prison Architect.
And the winner is...
Final Fantasy 15, the game where I spent 60 plus hours on my first run through, and then immediately spent another 40 on my second. I loved playing this game. In fact, I really want to do a stream of it, so that might be my next thing to do. I don't know, I've never played one of the modern Final Fantasies, and I heard this was a pretty good one to start with. Especially because it's the most recent one. But I really like Final Fantasy 1. And it's a very, very different experience. It's hard to believe that they're part of the same franchise. But Final Fantasy 15 was really fun. And I might need to play it again. I do love all of most of these games. But Final Fantasy 15, I spent like 100 hours playing. So I feel like that's the biggest time sink of 2017.
the No Play Needed Award.
So this category covers two types of games. I will talk about the positive first. If this were to be a positive award, it would be the games that are the must-play 10 out of 10 games of the year that I just didn't have time or money or effort enough to play. None of those are on the list this year. Instead, you can look forward to a few games that I'm sure if I had played them would be on the Flop of the Year award nominees. These are games that did something awful to be on this list. Either they were bad to players, or the publishers of them were terrible to their developers, or just generally they did horrible things. Yeah, I don't like talking about these games, but you're gonna get an earful on, well, the winner and why it's on here.
And the nominees in the No Play Needed Award category are
Call of Duty World War II, Shadow of War, and Destiny 2.
And the winner is
This one goes to Call of Duty World War II. Not just for being an identical clone of a game that came out the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, but also for its predatory microtransaction techniques, which we don't have confirmation to my knowledge that they're in use, but it does seem sketchy that Activision would, do that patent right before releasing the game. The patent for the technology where they target microtransactions by matchmaking people based on microtransactions. But also for the spectacle loot boxes, which are, again, designed to prey on people who have a higher chance of being targeted with things like that. That's not okay. I don't know whether it was a developer or a publisher decision, but it's not alright. We as developers need to be better. That's all I want to say.
the Flop of the Year.
Right, so, the Flop of the Year is pretty obvious. It's the opposite of the Game of the Year. It's the worst thing I played all year. Yeah, there were only a few games that I disliked, because I don't waste money and buy games that are bad. This is also one of the categories that requires that it's a game from 2017, so, that's another big thing, is I didn't get very many games this year. I had to stretch to find new games for the list. That being said, let's see who wins.
And the nominees for the Flop of the Year are
For Honor and Arms.
And the winner is
Arms. Wow, okay. I have never played a fighting game where I got to fight against the controls. If you've never played Arms, and you've never seen anyone play Arms, you move around the field with tilting the motion controls. How do you hit things? You punch with the Joy-Cons. This control scheme would be fine if they had not mapped your special moves to the shoulder buttons. And if they had not made it so that in order to move, you have to hold the Joy-Cons facing outward. The control scheme makes no sense. It's not fun for me to play. It's not a good fighting game. The only difference I seemed to find between the characters was their available movesets. I don't even think they had a different, none of them had, different movement or different, I don't even remember the specials. I played, 3 rounds and a tournament. I did not enjoy playing ARMS, and I would not enjoy playing more of ARMS. Yeah, and that's why ARMS is the flop of the year. With that negative category out of the way, let's move on to the biggest positive there is.
And finally, the game of the year.
This one should definitely be obvious. This is the game that was the best of the best of the best in 2017. That being said, there were not too many to choose from, and one thing on this list got added super late because I got it for Christmas, which unfortunately means that I have not played enough of it to confidently let it win, but it got a nominee, so that's good enough, I guess. Without further ado, let's see what the nominees are for this final category.
And the nominees for the game of the year are...
Splatoon 2, Cuphead, Mario vs. Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and Rhyme.
And the winner is...
Cuphead. Out of all 4 of these games, Cuphead is the one that stuck out the most in my mind. It has the most distinct art style I've ever seen in a game. It has the most difficulty out of any of the games I've played this year. And obviously difficulty is like my big thing, if you noticed. I've made multiple things just on how good Dark Souls is. There's Titan Souls was nominated for the late entries. It almost got it too. But yeah, hard games are really fun for me. And so this one got a big ol' shout out. Of course, all 4 of these games are amazing. I would recommend, if you have leftover money from whatever holiday you have in December, or just if you have money in general to spend on video games, I highly recommend these 4. Splatoon 2 is pretty much the same as Splatoon, but it's on the Switch, which I like the Switch. It's portable and nice. Mario vs. Rabbids is an interesting take on Mario, and also it's a cover shooter tactics game, which I really enjoy those. I really wish I could play XCOM 2 on this computer, but it crashes a lot. And Rhyme is... It's an amazing little game. I think it's indie, I'm not sure. But I think The Last Guardian came out in 2017. I will correct myself here if I'm wrong. But this was more of a continuation of Shadow of the Colossus than The Last Guardian could ever be. Rhyme has elements from... I look at it while I'm playing it, and I see things like Shadow of the Colossus, Journey. There's even a little bit of Eco in there. Like, it's a real fun game. Really, all of these would have won... Well, several of these would have won Game of the Year. But Cuphead is a real fun game. If you haven't played it yet, I highly recommend. I will possibly be doing a playthrough of it in 2018. Ask me later. Or in the comments.
We've just received word that this ceremony is neither live nor taking place in New York. Our apologies for any inconvenience. Alright, show's over. Everyone out before the cops get here.
Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my choices, or all of them, and we'll see what 2018 has to offer. Hey, I'm in the editing room right now, but I wanted to come in with a huge thank you to my sister who filled in for the announcer. The person I got to do it was not being convenient with what I wanted them to do, so I sent her the script, and I think she did a really good job. She's probably down in the comments below. She usually is, so if you see her there, give her a big ol' thank you. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Bye!